Yeah, just bear with me. Okay. Right, we're going. So yeah, we're recording now. So first of all, the thing I always forget is to introduce myself. So my name's Sally Darley, and I work for YMCA Lincolnshire, leading the communities team. So we've got a team of community development officers that work across Lincolnshire, supporting parishes, groups, community buildings, really to grow and thrive and develop. And with me, my co-pilot today is Ams. Gives away of Ams, who again works across Lincolnshire, but mostly focusing at the top of East Lindsey at the moment, so the kind of north side of the county. So we're going to be leading today. We have gathered information from people that we work with. So this isn't just all about us sharing what we think. We have quotes, videos, and some interviews with other people who also have tried and experimented with trying to encourage more people to join in with their community. So we'll be sharing those today. We'll be pausing for discussion and asking you if you'd like to share your comments, questions, ideas. So please do, because we'd really like to hear from you. I'm going to start by sharing my slides. Got some slides to go with, and including sound. There we go. So give me a little thumbs up if you can see my slides. Thank you. Brilliant. Okay. So we're really focusing on community volunteering, and maybe you yourselves maybe don't class yourself as a volunteer. Maybe it's you're just wanting people to kind of help or get involved or support or share skills. But they are all volunteers. And we're looking at maybe what we can do to break down some of the barriers, whether they're real or they're perceived, and also how to kind of look after volunteers and keep them coming back, developing a really good kind of culture of volunteering in your area. The aim of the session, by the end of the session, hopefully we'll all be able to kind of recognise and promote the benefits, having a look at maybe what the barriers are and then thinking how we can tackle that, understanding the strengths and skills across your community and your area, and then a few practical steps for engaging volunteers and keeping them engaged. Okay, I will say, as you all know, involving volunteers, we're dealing with people, which is always tricky and interesting and very rewarding, but it also means there is not one answer. So by the end of the session, there won't just be one answer that's suddenly going to get you a crowd of volunteers that are going to stay forever and help you on your committee. But hopefully you will get some hints, tips, ideas, and maybe be able to look at things from a fresh view. Hi, Carol. Just welcome, Carol. Hi there.
Hi there.
Who just got
Sorry.
going. That's okay.
I've been watching that little wheel go round and round and round.
No worries, Carol. Carol, if you'd like to just mute yourself, but there will be opportunities for you to join in and unmute at various points.
Sorry, Sally. Carol, yeah. I've just dropped you a message into the chat as well, if you'd like to take a look.
Okay. So let's start off nice and positive and think about the benefits of volunteering. We've got a few examples that we gathered from people that we work with. So I'm just going to show you.
Thanks, Grace.
Hello.
Hello, I'm sorry you're late, Grace.
Oh, hi, it's Sally here.
Oh, hi, Sally. Yes.
Hi, what's your name?
Lynn Needham.
Oh, hi. Hi, nice to see you. Would you mind just popping yourself on mute? And then we will have opportunities to ask questions and join in.
All right, I'm trying to find it now.
Oh, I can find it.
Anyway, I've got it.
Lovely. Thank you. You're very welcome. Okay, so let's have a look at the benefits of volunteering. We've got a few examples here. We gathered some quotes and got a little bit of some recordings from people.
I am 12 and I love being part of the team, being included, being helpful and learning all the time. I don't go to school, I'm home educated, and being a volunteer gives me so many opportunities to socialise, to meet new people and learn lots of new skills.
We've got another one here.
Volunteering has helped me build confidence and to realise that I have something worthwhile to offer my community.
And this is a bit of a longer one.
Starting as a micro-volunteer has escalated very quickly into being a fully committed volunteer, and this has taken place because I have felt appreciated, supported, and always welcome. Friendships have been forged, and I always feel that I have made a difference, however small. As someone that loves to talk, there are many willing listeners and wall crafters that can share my enthusiasm and modest skills. I now have skills in jacket potato cooking on a large scale, but not sure if they will fit into my CV. But if ever the spud man on the market is short of staff, you can hire me out. The main thing is I enjoy being part of a hard-working, forward-thinking team, and it has been one of the best things I did in 2024. Volunteering has also been great for my fitness and mental health, so it's a win-win.
Okay, so I guess question to you is, you've got lots of different kind of viewpoints there and different benefits. Does any of this chime with you, either personally or people that you work with? Anyone want to add a comment or a view? You can unmute yourself. Yes.
We have a lot of elderly volunteers, and the confidence thing does help them along. That's why a lot of them come. Youngsters, no, we have safeguarding issues with youngsters because we are all volunteers. Even I'm a volunteer. So with safeguarding issues, we can't really have youngsters under 25 unless they have their carer with them. So that's a problem. But yeah, they do come to build confidence and to help out. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that confidence thing and having a purpose and motivation is really important, isn't it? Yeah. Anyone else want to add a comment or their view?
Sally, I will. Another
Thanks,
role
Laura.
that I hold apart from working at Active Lincolnshire is that I volunteer with the Lincoln City Foundation, supporting their Fighting Fit programme, which is working with cancer survivors. And it is literally the best couple of hours of my week every week. It's so rewarding. The people are enthusiastic. The energy in the room is amazing. And to be able to use my skills to give back to a community that really needs support, but ultimately is really grateful for that support is amazing.
Yeah, oh, lovely. So that kind of personal satisfaction and feeling valued and using your skills more widely. Yeah, that's really useful. Yeah. Carol, did you want to?
Yes, I was just going to say that we've had lots of volunteers. So for the parish council, we'll do a sort of like a tidy session on the last Saturday of the month. And we used to have sort of lots of volunteers, but over the years it's dwindled. And now it's just sort of like a few of the older people. So the younger ones have other things to do. So it's not volunteering isn't a priority. So although I feel that it's a benefit because you get to meet other people in the village and you're doing a good job, and you benefit a village as a whole. For me, I get my steps in, but it's trying to hang on to those volunteers, and I think you'll come on to that later.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't heard that one before, Carol, getting your steps in as a benefit for volunteering. But that sounds like a good one. Susan, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I found, although we're just newly starting, we've had a volunteer interest meeting to be able to see what's available. But the people that I've actually met it's so nice for them to be able to get together with like-minded people and parents who have the same struggle, and the children are able to talk to each other and express their feelings and everything. So we've now, the children on their own have created their own group, named themselves Caterpillars, and they come along and they're running stalls for fundraising, and you know what I mean, and they're really getting into it. So it's really interesting to see the unexpected side of asking people to volunteer. Do you know what I mean? It's just so lovely that they want to do it, because on yours you put that you've got a 12-year-old who was interested in volunteering and the benefits they get.
Yeah, it does volunteer.
And I think for the children it's just an opportunity for them to have a voice and know that they're being listened to.
Yeah, really good point. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So it's a new venture for us, but it's so heartwarming for to know that there are people out there who care and who genuinely want to come along and help and be a volunteer.
Yeah. I really like that, Susan, about the unexpected kind of benefits. So maybe things that that emerge that you didn't expect. So either trying something new, or meeting people you didn't expect, forming a new group, or that's really nice. That's really powerful, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So how about how we could use and harness this? So we've got a few quotes here, because we went and asked people and we said, what are the benefits for you? If you have you tried that? Have you asked people who already volunteer? But also, how do you think then that could be used to encourage others to get involved? Any ideas? Yeah.
I find.
Sorry.
Go on, you go first, Dylan. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that a lot of my volunteers, because they're elderly, they do talk to other people within the village who come down to volunteer. Now, we are a museum, all right? We're a charity museum, not a parish council. We're not a youth group or anything like that, but a museum. And they do come along, and they enjoy making cakes or doing the tea shop, and they do tend to talk to each other, which is a good thing. But because they're all of the same age, that is our main barrier, is we cannot get youngsters in because of safeguarding issues. And then the volunteers over 21 are all working. So we are between a rock and a hard place, really.
Well, and maybe we'll come to that a little bit about how you can maybe adapt roles, or if there are roles that different kinds of people can get involved in. But certainly that word of mouth and sharing experience, it's really, really useful, isn't it? Especially, if you're in quite a small community. Thanks. Harry?
I was going to say, so the food bank, Feed in Gainsborough, that I've worked for, quite often they're people that have kind of used the bank in times of need. And I've got a Growing Green group as well, and quite often it's social prescribers that will kind of bring them along. Otherwise, it tends to be word of mouth. I've had the group for about 3 years now, but I've been trying to grow it organically. So it does tend to be word of mouth, and sometimes it's people through because I work with so many different charity organisations. Sometimes I can kind of go via other voluntary organisations. But I did kind of have the idea to have a volunteer exchange. But it's possible that if you've got volunteers in one place, I think organisations might be worried that they're going to lose volunteers, but it might be a way to keep things fresh for the volunteers, and maybe they'll gain some as well.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Harry. What a great idea. As you know, because many of you are volunteers yourselves, the busiest people, and you don't usually just have one role, but many different roles are helping out in lots of different ways. So, yeah, I think you're right. Having a swap and having a go at something new would be really good, and sharing. And we know of communities that have maybe started to, say, villages next to each other that have maybe started to share as well. So where there's one event in one village 1 month, might advertise to everyone to kind of come and help, and then reciprocate another month. So making those relationships with other organisations or communities around you might be a real benefit. But when you're thinking of advertising, or putting a call out, making it known that you'd like people to get involved, then maybe consider shouting out about the benefits. And it might be worth putting some effort in to asking those people who already do volunteer to be able to tell you why. So to get some quotes or maybe a short video, they're brilliant, aren't they, to pop on social media, or to put in a newsletter, a photo of somebody in action, really spelling out, because it is quite powerful, isn't it? And that's what inspires us, is hearing other people have really positive experience. But I suppose that Lynn has already kind of touched on the fact that there's often quite a lot of barriers in the way, and sometimes they are perceived barriers, sometimes they're real. So let's have a look at those, and then we can think about maybe how do we start tackle that and get over it. So you might recognise some of these kinds of things. So again, we asked people who were searching for volunteers, what were some of the kind of barriers, or what do you think stops people? What kind of things do you hear? And some of these we've mentioned already. Committees sometimes scare people, don't they? As soon as you mentioned committee, member, trustee, those kinds of formal things sometimes seem a bit scary, or hard to penetrate and get in there. Time is always a big one. You can see that's kind of quite big, featuring quite centrally here. But maybe there is something we can do around that, and that's up to us to modify what we're offering to fit in with people's time. So whether that's the time of day or the amount of time. So we can maybe think about that. And there's lots of other things that we can do through communicating well, to maybe break down some of these barriers. We've got a couple more here, little quotes from people that might be reasons why. So work shifts, they can't commit to the same time each week. Yeah, that might be true. If you need somebody because your group meets on a Thursday morning and you need them to be there, then that might be an issue. But does it matter if someone's not there every week? Or are there things outside of that fixed time that people can get involved in? Being busy, of course. Oh, this is a key one for those people on parish councils, especially, I think, is about meetings, what time of day meetings take place. So often kind of like 7 o'clock, 7:30. Well, if you've got a family, that can be a tricky time, can't it? So is there anything you can do? Maybe can you join on Teams, or could it be a different time sometimes? People worried about getting drawn in and never being able to leave. Once they start, won't be able to leave. That often kind of stresses people out a little bit, and puts the barriers up straight away. And maybe those wanting to get involved, but not physically able to get out and about. Is there another way maybe we can involve people? So I'm just going to throw back to you again. Does any of this chime with you? Have you heard any of these things, or does it kind of ring true, or do you identify with any of this? Yeah, Carol, you're nodding.
I think as a parish councillor, you feel that once you get sucked in, you can't leave because it's difficult to get other volunteers to, come and be on the parish council. It's not as if they're all clamouring for the roles.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess what is it then that you can do about that?
I don't know. I think sort of like try and advertise more widely, maybe put a leaflet through everybody's door when we have a vacancy. And as you say, if we highlight the benefits rather than the barriers, maybe that, and sort of like suggest that we can use, something like Teams for the people that can't get there, it's only every 6 weeks, so it's not too onerous, but.
Yeah, we'll make it easy for you. Yeah, but I guess one of the things for you then is if you had a healthy number of people that were interested, you wouldn't feel so personally like, oh gosh, it's all resting on me and I can't leave because there's no one else to step up. But if you had that healthy kind of bank of people, then that maybe solve that problem for you.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Anybody else recognize any of these things, Lynn?
Definitely. If I say yes, I'll end up doing everything. Yes, I did. I've started off just helping with the collections, and then I ended up as a director. I do the visitor services. I do the volunteers. I'm the volunteer coordinator at the moment, which is a large job, especially when you've got an elderly population. If they suddenly don't come, you want to know why they're not coming, so it becomes a welfare issue. And whilst they're there, you want to keep up with them. I'm afraid the other directors don't give me support. And I'm sure with the parish council, it's the same. Some just sit there and say yay or nay, and some actually are the doers. You get the doers and the sitters, ones that sit on their backside and do nothing. It's the same with every single charity with volunteers. But at the moment now, I'm trying to reduce my workload, but I'm finding it very, very difficult. Partially because all the directors are older. I'm 75. Our chair is 90. Everyone else, I think, we've got Tina, who's very good. She's a youngster, but all the rest are over 65, 70. Coming on like that, and that is a problem I have with it, getting the youngsters in and prepared. So a lot of them think, oh well, I have to work, have a busy life. We're trying to get more directors, volunteer directors, but they don't seem to be coming forward, the people with the skills, and this is what we need: skills. As a charity or anything else, you need to develop as time goes by, and that's what we're having to do. Try to do anyway. Keep up to date.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I think you're not on your own with needing to appeal to younger people. And by younger people, I don't necessarily mean young people, children, teenagers, just that kind of younger adults, really. And it might just be that you need to target your advertising or target your roles in certain ways, but that's certainly not something that just you. I know, for example, many parish councils and committees want to bring new kind of younger people involved with different kinds of skills. It's interesting about what you said about people working and being busy. Just have a look at this next quote that we have from somebody who AMS works with in Covenham. Again, I'll just play the little clip for you.
As a very busy mum, foster carer and self-employed person, volunteering really shouldn't fit into my diary, but it does, and I absolutely love it. I love the team I work with, the benefits of it, including my children, my family, and my friends. It gives me friendships I wouldn't otherwise be exposed to and helps me provide opportunities to others that they wouldn't experience otherwise. This gives me lots of enjoyment. I've learnt a lot. I have a whole different aspect of my identity, plus feelings of achievement. I also enjoy being able to create things I feel are missing, knowing that I've helped to achieve that. It's great for my teenagers to experience and helps them to both build their CVs, their experience, and their self-esteem. I feel that I can role model to my children and to others that volunteering really is a community in more ways than one.
So I guess that's somebody who, if we think about maybe some of the barriers from the previous slides, on paper you'd kind of think, well, this person's got it all going on, busy, family, working, kind of self-employed. But actually, I'm right in saying, aren't I, that this volunteer kind of supports with things like social media and marketing?
Yeah, she does. And when she says she's a foster carer, she actually undoes herself there. She has 7 foster children, some of which are homeschooled, some which go into mainstream education. So she really, really is busy. But as she joined the team, the person that leads this group noticed she was always on her phone. So she asked her to take over all the marketing, the Facebook posts, the designing posters. She joined us for a training course on how to use Canva. And every time now that you see something of theirs that they're advertised, it really does jump off the page at you. She really has developed herself. I must admit, one thing she's missed out on there, she is also doing a degree currently. So yeah, super busy. But she finds that she's able to fit a lot of this into the background of what she's doing. She does attend the groups that are running from the Covenant Village Volunteers. So yeah, she's quite inspirational, really.
So maybe it's a little bit about identifying what people's skills are, and then very often those can be fitted in and around. So it might not have to be about going to a particular group at a particular time, but being able to do Instagram and Facebook and post things. And that's something that she can do really quite quickly in between things, that might take somebody else a bit longer. But all those kind of benefits in the way that it fits into and complements her life and her family is really important, isn't it? Because you can see that it's a personal benefit for her, as well as her kind of sharing her skills. So it's thinking really about, how can we overcome those barriers? How can we use people's skills? How can we adapt roles? And that kind of brings us on to something that we'd like to just share from Nikki. So Nikki is with Covenant Village Volunteers, and which is in East Lindsey. And she has developed this group from scratch, but really has a good insight into the strengths and skills of her volunteers, and has been able to then kind of harness that and make sure that nobody's too overwhelmed, for example. And it means that people can contribute and feel like they can join in, but just by doing what they feel comfortable with. So just have a listen to Nikki. I'm going to play the video. Just do bear in mind that we asked people to do these recordings, and they were really kind enough to do that at home, but it means that the sound quality might not be the same as the clips. So you might just want to increase your volume a little bit so that you can hear. I'll increase here.
Hello, my name is Nikki Gully-Brown and I'm here talking to you from Covenant Village Volunteers. I've been asked to drop you a little short video about how we do volunteers over here in Covenant. So, started off as a very small group of people, 3, 4, maybe 5 of us when we were all attending. We chose our name, which is exactly what we are, exactly what we do, and because we chose that as a group, everybody within the group takes ownership of that and they are proud to be part of it. So from this 3, 4, possibly 5 members, we have now grown into 8 trustees and we are applying for charity status. These 8 trustees are very positive about what we do. They love our village, they love our community, they love our social scene, they love the events that we are putting on. This love and positivity of what we do breeds into everybody else within the village. So we are all here because we want to be here. The way I make sure that everybody is happy is I get to know the volunteers. People will mention to me, oh, so and so's interested about coming to the next cafe. They might want to do something. They've sort of like expressed an interest. So I'll make sure that I talk to that person. I'll make sure that I get to know a little bit about their life, where they're at, what's happening in their day-to-day world, what they might want to get involved in. And I just pose the question. So looking at what their interests are, what their skill set are. They might like baking, they might like sewing, they might like knitting, they might like walking, they might just like drinking wine. You know, there's lots of things that go on in the village, especially the drinking wine bit, but any of it is something that they can do. And if they can't do any of that, then most people can make a coffee. Most people can wash up, load the dishwasher, unload the dishwasher. Even the blokes on our team unload the dishwasher. And acknowledge. So once you've asked them to do something, once you've helped them get settled in, once you've helped them do the job and acknowledge, you know, and said thank you very much, because that's just as important as making them welcome. Once you've got all of that going on, and then you sort of grow that role, you nurture that role. Now we have our team of 8 that are absolutely 100% dedicated to what we do. We are renovating the parish rooms, and that is a big job, but we work together, we socialise together, we support each other. So if one of us is away, then everybody else rallies round to absorb their role until that person comes back. If somebody's poorly, it's exactly the same way we do it. So our team of 8 are robust. But we also know there's a lot of people in the village that don't really want have the time, want a full-time commitment, everything else. So we've embraced the micro volunteer role. So if somebody expresses an interest in what we do, when's the next event, then we will talk to them, or I will talk to them about what's going on, what we're going to do the next event. Would they like to make a dessert? Would they like to come and help set up the rooms? Would they like to do a bit of gardening? Would they like whatever they might want to do, which fits with what they're talking to me about, which is what is telling me they are telling me they do. And then they go onto the list with their permission. And on that list is, I've got, I think, 29 now micro volunteers. So if we're having a Macmillan coffee morning, I'll go around and down the list and invite all of the people that I know make cakes and say, you know, we're having this coffee morning for Macmillan, would you make a cake? Or we're having a gardening day at the church, would you be happy to pop down with your secateurs or your lawnmower or whatever? And it is about keeping in touch. And these people on my micro volunteer list are all as important. So when we are having a get together for volunteers, all of these micro volunteers are also invited. They are also involved. And you never know what ideas these people will come up with for fundraising, for a social event, for different kind of things. And because we embrace them, and we actually acknowledge their effort, their input, their time, then we feel we get so much more out of them. So I would say, enjoy, get to know your community, embrace your community and value them, and you'll have a good, robust team like we do. Thank you.
Okay, see, you can see the passion, can't you? Because Nikki even gets a little emotional at the end there.
She did, yeah. She recorded that 3 times and cried every time, bless her.
But that's really inspiring, isn't it? What are the 2, maybe a couple of takeaways that you maybe were thinking, or that you've picked up from hearing what Nikki had to say? Loretta?
While Nikki was talking, I was jotting down all the volunteers that I know of that are in Waddingham. We're only a village of about 600 people, but we've got the church, the parish council, the village hall, the Methodist church, people who deliver the local magazine, and I was just thinking we could have a meeting to a social occasion to bring all of the volunteers within the village together, because and try to work towards this micro volunteer list, because I'd also written down we're short of somebody to serve teas at the regular coffee mornings. So instead of trying to get somebody onto the village hall committee, why not just try to get somebody to volunteer to serve the coffees at the coffee morning, and get people involved through their what they can offer, what they can actually do, which is a lot easier for people to sign up for than signing up to be on a committee.
Yeah, absolutely, isn't it? That came
very inspired by Nikki. Very inspired.
Oh, lovely.
I'll tell her you said so.
Thank you.
Yeah, Nikki is very good at. She does have an absolute great team. They've really come together. I've been working with them now for 18 months, and just seeing them grow has been really amazing. But another thing that Nikki didn't mention in there that she does, because their group does the village magazine, but she puts everybody's news in there. So the church, the sailing club, she does it all in one. You know, she's trying to bring the entire village together, not just her group. So, you know, that's another hint, maybe.
Yeah, Loretta, I would completely agree that there's a couple of things come out really strongly, aren't they? Which is, one is the micro volunteering that you touched on, and you know, what is it? What skills do people have, and can we match that with a small, manageable task that doesn't seem overwhelming? I think you hit the nail on the head, Loretta, when you said, you know, someone will volunteer to come and make a cup of tea, but maybe not to join the committee. It seems daunting, doesn't it? And it goes back to some of those barriers that we were talking about. And then also the recognition and the thanks. So if you were to get people together, you know, for a social occasion, then it's saying thank you as well, isn't it? As well as kind of sharing how you might be able to help each other. It's recognizing and being grateful. Yeah. Anybody else got any comments or thoughts? Yeah, Lynn?
I really like that micro volunteers. We've got so many volunteers that have dropped by the wayside. And if we had an actual list of them with their skills, we might be able to get them back into the fold almost, you could say. We do have a coffee morning every month it's meant to be the volunteer and friends coffee morning, which people come along. They normally will volunteer to run the cafe or something like that. But I think the micro volunteers, it's a good idea just to keep in contact with them. I think that is a really good idea. Write a list of their skills and just say, oh, we're doing this, maybe you could help. You know? Yeah, I think that's brilliant.
Good. Yeah. Carol?
I just want to reiterate what Victoria has said. You know, I think having the micro volunteers is the way to go, because you know, you're not asking everybody all the time to do everything, because one of the things you mentioned earlier is that you're worried that you're going to have to do everything. So if you give everybody just one job, then at least, you know, it's like we have a yearly fair. And what happens is that you start work on the Friday and you finish work on the Sunday. And, you know, it's a lot to take on. But if you split it up into small jobs and said, would you come and put out the tables? Would you know, do the dishes or whatever? You know, I think that would be a lot more manageable, and people would know then that they don't have to spend the entire time working. They could actually enjoy the fair as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Any other comments or thoughts, reflections? No? if anything comes to you, you can pop it in the chat and we can share it. I'll just play another quick video and then just share kind of another thought. Right, so this next video was sent to us from our friends at Black Barn, or Bolingbroke, and they do all different kinds of activities and support all different people with different disabilities and challenges in their life. They do a lot of things around crafting and those kinds of back to like kind of heritage farming skills, you know, like carding of wool and spinning and dyeing and all those kinds of things. It's a really great place. And they just did a quick video for us here. They're sitting outside their lovely building, look, but which also means there's a lot of bird noise in the background. So again, you might have to just increase the volume. I'll just try and do it here as well. It's just a short one.
Good afternoon, my name's Diane, I work at Black Barn, and this is my good friend Carol, who is our volunteer. We're here today just to explain a little bit about volunteering. Us as an organisation would be absolutely lost without our volunteers. They bring a wealth of knowledge, their experience, they're really appreciated, and I think you do enjoy it, don't you?
I do, and I've been doing it for nearly a year now, and I really enjoy it. I used to work for Linkage before with learning disabilities, so I think I bring quite a bit to the Black Barn.
And luckily, we don't really have to advertise for volunteers because we own a close-knit village, and really it's word of mouth, isn't it? Like some of your colleagues have volunteered.
That's right. Yeah.
And they all bring something different to the mix. So we're really, really lucky. So thank you, Carol.
That's quite all right.
And I'll make you coffee next week.
Oh, thank you.
I love all the animals and birds in the background. But there's a real focus on skills there, isn't there, as well? So, you know, this lady has particular skills and has worked with people with learning difficulties in her career, and then now can use that to contribute in volunteering. And the thing about close-knit community and that word of mouth, getting people involved, is also having like a good reputation. Being a place where somebody wants to get involved is really important, isn't it? Before we move on to kind of maybe looking at some practical steps, so what can we do? Also, I just wanted to go back to the perceptions around volunteering being too big. One of the things that we do here at YMCA Lincolnshire is we can support communities with engagement surveys. So where you want to know what your residents want and need, so that you can either shape developments, activities, events, or apply for funding, we can help with that. And last year we did quite a lot, and that also involved kind of seeing people face to face and filling them in. And that's a really good opportunity to get volunteer interest, because one of the questions we would always put on is, would you like to volunteer? Now, we started off saying that and got quite a few no's. I don't have time. No, I can't. But if you ask, well, would you like to help out? Then we've got kind of more yeses. Something that really stuck in my mind was when I was talking to someone and they went, no, I don't have time. I said, what about, would you help deliver the newsletter? Oh, yes, yeah, I'd do that for you anytime, no problem. So when it was about, would you like to kind of get involved and volunteer, it was a flat no, but phrased in just a different way. Can you do this specific task, delivering newsletters? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. But those surveys have been a really good way of different communities and projects gathering names of people who are interested and contact details of people, because that's what you need, isn't it? You don't want to just put a call out and then it go into the ether and you haven't got anyone to contact. You want contact details, you want names, so that you can build that relationship that Nikki was talking about. So maybe consider that as a way of reaching out to people as well. Okay, any comments on that? Nope. Okay, oh, Okay. So next we're just going to move on to some practical steps. And I did an interview with my good friend Diane, who works for Lincolnshire Community and Voluntary Partnership. So you may be familiar with this organisation. You might know them as the Volunteering Centre, or something like that. I don't know. Does everyone know about VCS? They were VC, LCV, and now the LCVP, because they kind of joined together. Has anyone heard of them before? Have you used them? Yes, some bits. Yes, no, maybe. Yeah, Harry has. Okay, good. So you might know Diane, Harry. But this is an organisation that can help you with volunteering, and they have a portal where you can advertise as well. So that's particularly good if you're a larger organisation. Susan?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that I've had a lot of support from the volunteering people, and they offer free training, lots and lots of support and resources. And I'm currently working with Anna, and
lovely.
and they've been amazing, absolutely amazing.
Brilliant. That's really good to hear. So I had a quick word with Diane, and we did like a little interview, thinking about now what practical things can you do.
That's it.
So now we're on what can you kind of take away? What changes can you make? So I'm going to play our video, and while I'm playing, maybe I'd like you to think about what are you going to do? What are going to be your actions after today? Is there anything that you can take away and commit to changing or developing? Hi Diane, how are you doing?
Hi Sally, yeah, good to see you. I'm doing well, thank you. Happy Volunteers Week to you.
Yeah, you too. So thanks so much for joining us for this webinar to celebrate all those wonderful volunteers across Lincolnshire who are doing a marvellous job. And hopefully you can provide us with some hints and tips on how to engage more people. So I've got a couple of questions for you.
Okay, that's brilliant. Fire away.
First of all, how can we make volunteer roles appeal to different people across our community?
Yeah, I think it's really thinking about what you call your volunteer role, so people are really clear on what they'll be doing. I think that's something that's really important, so people have got a lot of clarity about that. I think it's also making sure that some of those roles are like nice little bite-sized ones that people could just have a go at, because sometimes some roles can look enormous, can't they? And that can actually put people off, especially if they're really busy people. I think on that, if you have got a big task or a big role, maybe think about breaking it down a little bit into smaller chunks so that perhaps you could have a few people getting involved. Making it as flexible as you can. I think all of us, we lead quite busy lives, don't we? So it's anything to make that a little bit easier for people to engage at different times. Perhaps emphasising to people it doesn't need to be a big commitment. They don't have to be signing half their life away. And as volunteers, they get to pick actually when are they free and available to do it. So, you know, as long as that fits with what you're needing, I think that's a really good approach too. Maybe if you're doing any advertising, I think visuals are a really good idea, because again, increasingly I think people don't want to read lots and lots of words, that they just want to see what that might look like in action, and maybe some team pics if people are happy to share their photos. That can actually be really nice, because you get to see who you're going to be volunteering with. Be careful of terminology. This probably applies more actually to organisations, Sally, but sometimes we see some really weird and wonderful words being used, and it's like, just keep it simple, keep it, you know, things that people can relate to. Make whatever you're doing sound very inviting. And I always think make it fun. You know, people are actually wanting to give their time. So what would make it a really enjoyable experience, and really focus on that, I think, for people.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. We might have touched on a couple of things for my next question, but I suppose bearing in mind that some of the people here on the webinar today are trying to entice people into volunteering. So it might be that there's members of the community that have kind of certain skills. They don't actually know that they want to volunteer, and they might not have ever thought of it. So how can we make it easy for people to get involved?
I think sometimes, you know, people can be a bit reluctant to come on their own to do some volunteering. So
Yeah.
I wonder sometimes if, you know, and I'm talking to all of us here that involve volunteers, if it's a good idea to get, you know, suggest bring a friend, bring a member of your family, or come as a little team and just have a little go at something that's almost like a taster. And this is where things like micro volunteering comes in, and that's a bit of sounds a weird and wonderful technical term, but it's actually just really small bits of volunteering that people could do with other people, just to start to get to know a few folks. So it's not like going along and really being unsure about who you're meeting. You might have then had a chance to meet a few people and think, I like the look of these folks, I could get a bit more involved here. So I think it's anything just to entice people in. I think be as visible as you can on things like social media, parish newsletters, anything where you can shout about what you're doing in the community is brilliant, because again, that kind of attracts. You know, it's like, oh, I'd really like to give something back. Think about COVID was a horrible, horrible time. But I mean, Sally, you and I remember how people just really stepped up to help out their friends and neighbours, and it was a really beautiful thing to see. So it's like capturing people's imaginations like that again. What can they do that will really make a difference? Because I think that's a big motivator for people. What can they do to change something? Hopefully not using lots and lots of application forms. Again, I think if you're taking people on as volunteers, just try and keep it really streamlined in terms of any paperwork you might need from them, so that it's as easy as it can be to get involved. Obviously, making sure that you know, it's safe to do so. You've done risk assessments and things like that, but as much as you can, keeping that hidden from the people who are actually involved in volunteering. And maybe sometimes share with other organisations who are also including volunteers. Is there anything you could do together? And then, you know, there might be an even bigger impact if you're doing that alongside other organisations too.
We know that volunteers are usually the busiest people, aren't they? And don't just do one role.
Don't you find we often find that people are serial volunteers? It's like, oh no, I do this on a Thursday, this on a Wednesday, this on a Friday. So it's like, but they are also great people to talk up what you're doing locally. So, you know, if you hook into some of those people, they'll do you a fab job in actually promoting and publicising what you do.
Yeah, great. Okay. Oh, well, publicising opportunities, that brings me on to my next question. So we know now that it's maybe a better idea to move away from those kind of negative ideas of, oh, we're going to close if we don't get anybody. Please, we're so desperate. So what is the best way to promote opportunities, you know, to make sure you're getting a good range of people involved and you're managing to catch and speak to everybody?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Sally. It's not guilt tripping people into thinking, you know, oh, you really have to do this or need to do it. I think that will make people run away. I think it's, as we've said, about making it good fun, maybe piggybacking on other events that are happening and using that as an opportunity to really ask people if they'd like to be involved. I think it's important that you try and involve as many from different walks of life. I think one of the really sad things is when you see people who are all the same in terms of age group or gender or what have you. I think it's really trying to think about, well, what would attract those young people to come and get a bit more involved, or people who are really struggling in life at the moment, or maybe, you know, children as well, you know, to get involved as a family group. So I think it's being imaginative to try and get people involved. I've mentioned the use of social media, going on the radio, depending on how far afield you want to gather your volunteers. Things like that are really important. Keeping your profile up, going digital. I mean, you know, we've got a volunteering platform, you can use that, but we'd never say to you, only ever use one way of drawing people in. Go out, talk about what you do, get involved in, you know, in opportunities to speak to different audiences and people, and really blow your trumpet. I think as British people, we're so bad at just going, you know, actually we do a really good job here and we're really making a difference. But I think if you've got the confidence to step out and do that, use some of your existing volunteer stories and get them to be your salespeople. I mean, I think you and I, Sally, we're totally passionate about volunteering, and I think that will come over. And your volunteers who feel the same way, they'll be your best advert.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, thanks so much, Diane, for all your hints and tips and advice. So keeping it positive, communicating with people lots of different ways, keeping up your profile, and offering maybe roles that in different ways, like short projects, micro volunteering, or asking people to do really specific things, and that's where you find out what skills you've got in your community, and someone around the corner who might be a whiz with bookkeeping or cake making.
Yeah, and saying thank you and celebrating your volunteers. And as we know, Volunteers Week's a great time to do that, but don't just stick to Volunteers Week, just keep thanking your volunteers, building those relationships.
Lovely.
All the best with that.
Thank you. Thanks so much,
No worries.
Diane, for all your hints and tips.
No worries. Thanks a lot, Sally. Take care.
Bye. Okay, so hopefully that kind of echoed a few things that we've discussed already, but hopefully gave you some pointers. I'm going to ask you maybe what your actions are going to be, but Harry's got his hand up, so Harry, go ahead.
I was just going to pick up on something that she said about working with families and kind of younger people as well. I mean, my green group has all walks of life, kind of all abilities, old and young. But the youth group, so although they kind of focus on, I don't know, 12-year-old kind of ages, because it's been going for some years now, some of those 12-year-olds have turned into 20-year-olds, and they're the ones running the group now. So it's if you kind of finding that you're everybody's of kind of retirement age, maybe running family days and things like that would be a really good idea, and maybe try and focus on the youth side of things as well. And it might be difficult initially to get your DBSs in check and things like that for safeguarding, but then you're kind of going to be developing a longer legacy type thing. So you can develop them all the way from, I don't know, the age of 8 to 12, all the way to young adults. And then once you've got them at that stage, then you can start thinking about them being board members and trustees and things like that.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Harry. Really great contribution. Lots to think about. Ams, did you want to?
Yeah, just to piggyback off what Harry said there, as you know, Sally, before I joined the YMCA, I ran a youth club for 7 years. 2 different age groups over 2 different nights, and one thing that I was so impressed with and so proud of was, as the children moved up to the next age group, they were then asking if they could still come on the younger group, but to help out, to run the tuck shop, to support the children in the activities that was doing. So yeah, developing those skills from such an early age was just invaluable for me.
Great, thanks, Ams. That's fabulous. Okie doke. Right, so I'm going to ask you if you'd like to share some of your takeaways. So that's the kind of last of our input. This is just some of the kind of key takeaways, key suggestions that came out from that discussion. Loretta, can I ask you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got a couple of things that you're planning to action or take away or discuss with the rest of your group?
I don't know if you've been watching me, I've been writing everything, I've been jotting everything down. One of the things that rang strongly with me was don't be negative, don't try and guilt people, because the village hall has been here for 50 years, in Waddingham for 50 years. And for a long time, it's been the same people running it who've started off as young adults with lots of children, and jobs, and they put all of everything into getting this village hall made, and they've been the one that have been running it for 50 years. And now they're sort of stopping running it. It's too hard, or but nobody ever volunteers, nobody supports us, and they've been sending out this sort of message over the recent years. There's nobody volunteers, there's no point in asking. So that's what people in Waddingham have been getting from the committee, from the village hall committee, like a bullying tactic or a guilt tripping tactic. So this thing about making it sound fun, and my first important thing is to get somebody to do this help with the coffee mornings, because the committee is down to 9 people now, and we lost 3 due to ill health and personal reasons this year, so we used to be 12. So we've got 9 people trying to do everything, and we have an event on 3 Saturdays out of the month, so that's a lot for everybody to be on every, because we're only 9. We need, so people are, the committee are making a big contribution. So we need to get these micro volunteers to come in and support us with that, so that people that a member of the committee doesn't have to be serving the coffees on a Saturday, on the second Saturday in the month. They can have that Saturday off, and it makes things a lot easier for everybody. And I'm just getting so many ideas. My head's full. Sorry.
Oh, lovely. Oh, well, that's not a bad problem to have. I mean, I do understand and certainly don't minimise the frustration of people who have been involved for a long time and feeling like maybe they don't know where to turn next to get more support. But you have to keep coming back to the fact that no one's going to volunteer unless it's fun or interesting, or you're just not, are you? Because time's precious. And maybe if someone else was serving the tea, then Loretta, you'd be able to go around and talk to people and ask how they would like to get involved and do a bit of schmoozing and recruitment. Okay.
I've been thinking about all the different, because like I said, we're only a village of 600 people, but there are so many disparate groups within the community. Well, not disparate, they're all separate groups. We've got 2 other charities, we've got the church, we've got the Methodist Hall, we've got the village hall, we've got Triangle Deliverers, we've got the school PTA, all the people on the school PTA. And they're all the doers. And you don't get that many doers in a community of 600. So we all need to start working together, really, to be able to add more to the village, because a group of 9 can't put on a summer fair. We've got the most amazing village green outside the village hall, but this big group of volunteers could do that. But when as far as I'm aware, nobody's ever spoken to other groups in the village.
Great idea. Put it on your action list.
Yes, I will do.
Mike, you've got your hand up.
Hi, thank you. I've been sitting, watching and listening with 2 angles, really. Firstly, it's the committee of management side and the running of the venue, which is our equivalent of the village hall, which is a big modern building, very expensive to run. So we actually have paid staff involved. I mean, our turnover on the village hall is about £100,000 a year. And trying to maintain that, keep that financially viable, has been a challenge. And so one thing we've recently started is we've actually employed 2 part-time event managers who organise and do the legwork ahead of things. And then, as you said, teams of volunteers who help deliver. And we've already, by coincidence, got that, I think, micro-volunteering element. We haven't called it that. So I recognise everything you said, the challenges of it, the benefits, blah. The side I'm struggling more with is parish council. And I guess one of the things that I have done recently, which is probably out of step with a lot of what you're talking about here, which is about volunteers, doing as little as they want, blah, blah, blah. We had the challenge this year, 5th year running. I've had to take over or continue as chairman of the parish council, because although we had a full parish council, which sounds like a luxury, nobody would take on the role of chairman. And for us, the linkage with the charity means we've got double jeopardy. One fold, both fold. But so I actually said, if people are not prepared to step up and take over the chairmanship role in the future, then they really need to think about what they're sitting on the council for, because the parish council is much more than just turning up at a monthly meeting, having your vote and going home and then doing nothing until you come. As a result of that, 3 people have resigned. So we're now having to recruit. But when we do recruit, we'll be making it absolutely crystal clear that as part of it, the expectation is that you sort of serve your apprenticeship and you will fill the chairmanship role in due course. Now, I'd be interested if other people think that's an overly harsh approach or what. Thank you.
So yeah, I'll open it up to see what everybody else thinks. I think you're absolutely right, where you have roles that have responsibility and there is a lot of responsibility. You've got people employed for you, then you have to be really clear about the role, don't you? However, actually maybe seeing that as an opportunity for some people, Mike, so the chance to come and join a committee, develop your skills and learn what you're going to be learning, and kind of getting trained then to take a role, a leadership role, could be so valuable and really, really enticing. So I think what maybe you think is putting people off is actually a real opportunity, and especially for younger people who want to develop their leadership roles and who want to kind of learn new skills and be exposed to working as teams, getting opportunity to do training, learning more about council and how that works. I think that's your selling point, isn't it? That's an opportunity. It kind of reminds me of discussions around volunteering where people have been asked to do training, like safeguarding training or GDPR training, and seeing that as a negative. Oh no, I have to do some training. Well, I'm sorry, you can't volunteer unless you do this training. Well, that's like a positive to me. Look, I'm offering you some training, some free training and learning. That should be something that's enticing. Does anyone else have any other thoughts on Mike's comments? Carol, did you want to?
Sorry, so going back on Mike's comments, I think he's right, because in our parish council, I'm chair of the parish council, and we do have some members who just come every 6 weeks and they vote on different things and then they go away again. So I think I would like to develop a list of people who are interested in the role, and as you say, you positively promote the role by including things like the training, skills development, leadership, because that's the sort of thing that is going to look really good on their CV. And so I think being positive is really great. So yeah, and I understand from Mike, because like I've been every year, I've just been chair for 2 years, but every year I say, would anybody else like to be chair? And nobody puts their hands up. They're not interested in the role, because I don't think they want the leadership role, and having to stand there in front of people.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a thing about matching it to people's skills, isn't it? But I quite like Mike's idea of setting an expectation that you kind of join, you learn, you train, and then you are expected to take on responsibilities, just to avoid the members of committees, which is not just parish councils, but all kinds of committees, where people come along for the meetings and then don't actually do anything. You're expected to contribute, aren't you, if you're sitting on any member of a team? Carol, did you have any other takeaways?
Yes, so my takeaways are going to be that I'd positively promote the volunteering that does happen in the village, and using photographs as well, because that's one thing our newsletter is lacking. We don't use photographs, we just use text. So, and bring a friend or family member. I think that's a really good idea to help people sort of like get them to come along to things. One of the things I did want to ask you, though, I also volunteer for orienteering, and because the orienteering, the big events need a lot of people to help, they've now started doing a voucher, so you can get sort of like a half price burger at the burger stall and things like that. What's your thoughts on rewarding volunteers?
Yeah, I mean, generally, the general good practice is volunteers aren't paid and shouldn't be doing anything that replaces a paid role. But certainly perks, benefits, rewards in kind, I think are fine. Yeah, good incentive.
Okay, lovely, thank you.
Yeah. So we'll just go to Lynn. Oh, you're just on mute.
Yeah, you'll be fed up with hearing from me. Absolutely brilliant. Chairman, we've need to replace our chairman because he's over 90. But I think we need to actually put down what the role is, a role description, really, because people are frightened when they're said, oh, you'll be chair. I never took the chairmanship on because I don't have the contacts within Woodhall Spa that I feel they need. So I think we are going to have to do more role descriptions, which I believe we are doing for the LC, the volunteer service. We're putting role descriptions actually on their website. We're in the process of doing that. The other thing is thinking through, the majority of people that are on this webinar are either parish councillors, village hall committees, or charities like that. We are a museum, and for accreditation, we have a lot of policies that we have to put in place. How many other people have these policies? They are, oh God, you name them, safeguarding, code of conduct, collections policy, database, all those sort of policies that we have to put in place. And I sometimes feel that I might frighten the volunteers when I say, there's a load of policies there, just read them at your leisure. If they suddenly discover they have to be, go by these policies, they're just guidelines on how you should be acting. But do any of the other people on this webinar have policies that they need to do? Health and safety, safeguarding? I know parish councils do. They have to have health and safety and safeguarding anyway. But it's all the other things. I think, oh my God, ties them down a bit. I think that is my problem.
Yeah. Without speaking for everybody, everyone's nodding, as you can see. We've got loads of hands shooting up because, policies and governance is a feature of everybody's life. It might just be that you've got some extra ones with you being a museum, Nanette. I think there are ways around being able to train your volunteers without asking them to read through all the policies, and it might be that you can develop an induction kind of package that does highlight things, as long as they're always available. So as long as your policies are available for everybody to access and you're directing them, then it might be during that kind of induction session that you have with them, where you're introducing them to other people and the building and their role. Then it might be, this is just a quick summary of these policies. This is where you can find them.
Yeah, we do have an induction system whereby they apply. I normally interview them And during the interview, flying out what they're interested in and what they can do, or what they're prepared to do. Explain to them that they don't have to commit to a lot of time if they don't want to. So I do have those procedures in place, which I find really good. But I think it's the policies thing that is maybe saying. So maybe I do need to just minimise the policies, just the basic ones. I do your evacuation policy and your fire and all this, like health and safety, etc. But maybe not ask them to read all the policies.
Yeah, and there is free training for volunteers available through LCVP and other organisations. So utilise that as well, and maybe through your council. Thanks, Lynn. Did you have a comment?
I did, yes. Just to go back to just when Diane was talking about small projects. Sorry if I mentioned the Covenham Village Volunteers quite a lot, but they are a very proactive group that I work with and support. So last year they were successful in obtaining some of the UK SPF funding. So linking that to the small projects that Diane was talking about, all the volunteers, the main committee, did all the works themselves. So they were down there, took the month of August off to sort of close the rooms, but they were in there working, and they just put a call out on their, to their followers. If you're out and about passing, if the door's open, would you have time to stop and make us a brew because we're busy? And they got so many people through the doors and so much engagement just from that. And then going back to Carol, your newsletter, again, we spoke about the volunteer at Covenham that does all like the Facebooky things. And what they do now for their newsletter is basically through Canva, that I've shared the link with you, they create an advert that's going to go on Facebook, but then they just drop that advert into their newsletter. So their newsletter is pretty much all visual. So, and it's saving a lot of time. They're not doubling up on works that need to be doing. They're not creating a newsletter, then creating a Facebook advert, then creating a poster to go out around the village. They create this one document and drop it all in to everything. So that might be a little hint or tip there for you.
Maybe Carol, if you want to develop that, we might be able to have examples that we can share with you. If you wanted to develop your newsletter. Did you have anything else, Ams?
No, I think that was just everything that I'd written down there.
Okay, and thanks. Mike's got his hand up next.
Sorry, I can't for whatever reason write in the chat. It's going back to Carol's question about how do you reward volunteers. One of the things that our events managers are doing is we're doing ticketed events to raise money, so it is very much for a financial purpose, and therefore what we're doing is each volunteer for the event gets 2 free tickets, and that therefore allows them to bring family and friends along as well. I mean, it's not much in the grand scheme of things, but it's that sort of gesture that shows it's a little bit of thank you. Thanks.
Definitely, yeah, brilliant idea. Loretta?
I was told. Okay, I'm just checking I'm not muted. It was about the policies. Our committee for the village hall didn't have any policies written down when I took over the chairmanship. I've only been the chairman of the village hall for a couple of years now, and we became aware that we needed a code of conduct policy, particularly because of things that happened within the village hall, within the committee. Some people sparked off each other and it was unacceptable. So we then had to actually create a code of conduct for the committee. And I'm from education, so I'm pretty hot at senior leadership. So I'm pretty hot on doing I've lost the word.
Policy.
Yeah, policies, sorry, yes. And also we definitely needed the safeguarding policy. So we got we got one of those straight away. We used guidance from websites and for village halls for making that, and from YMCA as well. We got sort of templates to make sure that we did the right thing. So yeah, so as a village hall, we do need you do need as policies to deal with day-to-day things that might crop up, as well as health and safety and safeguarding. So
yeah. Oh, look, thanks, Loretta. Okay, is anyone else that want to share any actions or takeaways, anything from your to-do list following today? Oh, Carol, hands up again. Go on, Carol.
Sorry, a quick question. So in our village, we've got a small group of very critical people. Have you got any suggestions on how, would you ignore them, or, I've tried speaking to them, and every time, there's a negative comment on Facebook, oh, well, I just had a glass of wine, and, I just, that's just how I felt at the time, and they don't delete it. So, you have any hints on how to deal with these people? Because they put other people off joining, because if they're going to be rated on Facebook, then, why put yourself in the firing line?
Well, Mike's hand shot up. Mike, were you going to respond to that?
Yeah, thank you. Recognise where you're coming from there, Carol. My experience is, we at Parish Council do not get engaged in Facebook conversations, because that is just a rotten direction to travel in. What's been interesting, recently we put our precept up by a massive percentage from last year, but in reality it's gone from £80 to 120. So we had a couple of people who came on to social media with the pitchforks ready and the rest of it. What was interesting was a couple of other residents stepped in and said, whoa, these councillors are your neighbours. If you really have an issue with them, rather than come onto Facebook and just shotgun everything in existence, go and talk to them. And that closed that one down very quickly. The other thing is, if we do have people who are like that, the parish clerk will contact them directly and say, Chairman's very willing to have a conversation, please come in. Half of them don't have the bottle to actually come and do anything and speak to you face to face, but those that you do inevitably go away, even if they haven't got the answer they wanted, with a positive impression that they have been engaged, have been listened to, and have a lot of the time explain things to them, and they go, oh, I didn't realise that. So I think you've got to be proactive selectively, if that makes sense, Nova.
Yeah. Brilliant. What do you think about that, Carol?
As for these people, for one instance, circumstance where went to see her and speak to her about the issue, and she said it's just that she'd had a glass of wine, but really I don't feel that excuses her behaviour when she then doesn't press the delete button when she can do. And so yes, as a parish council, we try not to get involved in these issues, and as you say, again, the parish clerk to sort of like write to them, but this sort of and it may not be a parish council issue, it may be something else that's happening in the village about the volunteers, like the village tidy group, but the people won't want to come along because of negative comments, like, oh, they've left grass all over the floor, but the reason why they've left grass there is that there's not enough volunteers, and it will blow away. It's not it's not the end of the world having a few grass clippings.
Yeah, it's really hard not to get sucked in, isn't it? I think the idea of using your ambassadors and killing with kindness and positivity, bombarding with love and kindness is one of the ways, apart from managing any comments and concerns, but as regards volunteering, you do need those people who are going to step up and say, oh, well, actually, I think they've done a brilliant job and they're all volunteering, and thanks so much. I think there's certain things you can control, Carol, aren't there? And then other things you just kind of have to manage. Loretta, did you have some advice on there?
Yeah, we have a Facebook group in Waddingham called Waddingham Working Together. It was set up during COVID, which was to help people to help each other, like to get prescriptions and things like that. And that's now got almost half of the village are members. So when we have something on there that gets a bit contentious, like at the moment where the parish council are having to find out about getting an allotment up for the parish, and there are some people who are very negative about it and quite rude on Facebook, but because we've got this actual group, who we have admins who are part of the group, who are in the village, they police the comments, and if there is something does come out that is unpleasant or derogatory, the admin can take that down. We don't have to wait for somebody else to take that down, and then the admin can put on something that says this is a group for helping each other, not for bringing each other down. Please remember that your parish councillors are volunteers and doing a hard-working job, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So having that the admin facility for this particular group is really helpful.
Thanks, Loretta. Yeah, but good point, Carol, about, you know, combating negativity because you want other people to join in. Yeah, great. Okay. Ans, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just going to save it till towards the end, but since as we're talking Facebook, it seems pertinent at the moment. In the chat, I have put a link to our Facebook page. Please do feel free to add us as a friend, where we highlight funding flashes, quick news, etc., etc. And also I will be re-advertising the webinar again later for tomorrow evening session. So please, if you have got any comments, you know, if you found it useful, if you wouldn't mind just typing a quick comment out, maybe engage some more people that would benefit from this webinar tomorrow evening, that would be fantastic. That was it.
Thank you. Thanks. Right, okay, let's have a bit of a roundup. So first of all, I'd just like to thank you all for attending and for contributing, because that's what really makes it. I hope that everybody has managed to take away some things that's useful, and I'd just like to finish by reminding you of our support. So we are YMCA Lincolnshire, we are the communities team, and we can help with lots of different things. This is just a few examples. So please do get in touch, even if it's that you have an idea that you want to just run by, or that you want to help to formulate or plan, or if you'd like some on the ground help, then yeah, get in touch with us and have a chat. So you can contact us. Well, you should have our contact details, but our communities at email that's there is really useful, because that's our kind of general inbox, so somebody is always monitoring that, so you're not going to slip through the net for holidays and stuff. So that's us, yeah, and do share with your colleagues, friends, etc. And then I also wanted to say that we will be asking you for some feedback. So we are also a charity, and so we really do rely on feedback for things that we're trying. We haven't done a webinar on this topic before, so we'd really like to know what your thoughts are, how you benefit, and we'd really like to know what else you might like as well, what other kinds of topics and things. So please do, AMS will be sending you out a feedback, really quick, easy one, just to fill in. It'll just take you about 3 minutes to fill in. And then the last thing is we do have something planned for July. So in July, we're working together with the Lincolnshire Domestic Abuse Service and Ringrose Law, who have approached us and would like to work together around understanding domestic abuse. So this is particularly useful for people who maybe are running groups or events. It's quite light touch in terms of just knowing a little bit about domestic abuse and just how maybe to identify, and if you see or hear or think something's not quite right, what to do about it. So it might be useful for all volunteers who are running those sessions. We know that we work in really remote communities where there might not be a lot of services instantly accessible. It's different than living kind of in a city, isn't it, or a town. So I think this might be really useful for lots of volunteers. We'll be sending out information about that, and it will be on our Facebook as well, like how to join. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and leave it there. So it's 11:30. We did quite well there, hour and a half. Really appreciate your time, and also, yeah, appreciate everything that you're all doing as volunteers out there, especially this week. So I'll leave you to go on your way and enjoy the rest of your morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
All right.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you all. Bye.
Thank
And
you.
you.
Lovely to meet you.
Bye.
And you.
Yeah.
Put my mic back on.